Good evening. Welcome to the City of Battle Creek, Michigan, in the Battle Creek City Commission meeting for June 6, 2023. It is 7 p.m. Thank you for being here. We're going to start out with a moment of silence for our invocation. If you're able to stand, please do so. And then we're going to have a Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to call upon Commissioner Roger Ballard to lead us in the pledge. Please stand if you're able to. Commissioner Ballard.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda will be the roll call. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Ballard.
Here.
Commissioner Lance.
Present.
Commissioner Morris.
Here.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Here.
Mayor Banky.
Present.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Present.
Commissioner Simmons.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Present.
And Vice Mayor Sophia.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. All 9 of the commissioners are here at the meeting. Next item on our agenda is proclamation for Men's Health Month. I'm just going to talk a little bit about men's health. Not that I'm expert on men's health, but I'll try to condense what is said in the proclamation. Then I know that we have a lot of people here for the Juneteenth, and I'm going to ask them to come up, and I'm going to ask them to talk about it. I see it this year, it's a 2-day celebration. I think that's great. So we'll talk a little bit about men's health, and then we'll move right into Juneteenth. Thank you very much, everyone. Well, thank you again. One of the ways that we receive recommendations for these proclamations is by organizations that really try to make a difference throughout the United States. And they usually email cities of a certain size or certain geographic. And I think for the last 5 years, we've talked a lot about, in the month of May, Men's Health Month. And I think it's important that all people take their health seriously and get their blood pressure checked and your cholesterol checked, maintain a good, healthy heart and lifestyle. So my recommendation to everyone is to get your doctor's appointment at least once, maybe twice a year. I feel it's that important, and you can contact a doctor by contacting Borges, Bronson, or Oaklawn. They service the city of Battle Creek. Matter of fact, Oaklawn has a new office they're opening on Beckley Road in the former Bronson facility. Understanding what you need to do, it's like my doctor lose some weight, and he says, I want you down to X amount of calories. My wife says that's not reasonable. So I think it's important that we take all of our health seriously. And with that being said, I want to say thank you to the organization that sponsors or encourages us to take the month of May for Men's Health. We thank them, and I'm sure we'll be back again next May. Next, I'd like to invite everyone up that's affiliated or is doing anything with Juneteenth this year. I love the new T-shirts. Or are those old T-shirts? Oh. I've never seen them before.
It's recycling.
Lynn, would you like to read the proclamation? All right.
I can't.
Okay.
Hey.
Whereas Juneteenth had its origin on June 19, 1865, when the Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, landed in Galveston, Texas. I've been to Galveston, Texas, and it's about an hour south of Houston. And it's a beautiful island. It was destroyed by a hurricane over 100 years ago. But it's really a place that you should visit if you get a chance. A lot of college kids visit Galveston, Texas during their spring break from the Houston, Alabama, and Mississippi and Louisiana area. So it's like Florida and Alabama is for Michigan residents. But anyway, whereas across our nation, Americans continue to celebrate Juneteenth, a day to reflect on the sufferings of slavery and to remember the joyful declaration of freedom. It is a time for rejoicing with family and friends and a time for planning for the future. If you've ever been to a Juneteenth celebration at Claudemont Park, that's exactly what goes on. I mean, you can buy any type of food that you want. You can play in all kinds of kids' activities. There's basketball going on. I think they even have some baseball games going on. People are swimming. There's just a lot of activity. And I really applaud the NAACP and the Urban League for collaborating together to really sponsor a great program that has really been a benchmark in our community for Juneteenth. So therefore, it is our hope and desire, by remaining sensitive to the conditions, lessons, and experience of others, that we can make a significant and lasting improvement in our community. Therefore, on behalf of the citizens of the City of Battle Creek, in concurrence with the State of Michigan, we do hereby proclaim the third Saturday in June, which is June 17th, not this coming Saturday, but the next following Saturday, as Juneteenth Family Day in the greater Battle Creek area. And we encourage all neighbors to increase awareness about the history of this significant event and to participate with appropriate celebrations. And once again, I encourage everyone. It will go on for 2 days. I think there's even some celebration on Sunday. Do your best to make it up there. Plenty of parking, plenty of security. And without that, I'm going to present it to Lynn Moore-Gray and her husband. I believe they're both co-chairing it. No? Yes? Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, City of Battle Creek. We really appreciate the support. We want to give a special shout out to the Small Business Development. They have been absolutely fabulous to work with in trying to help us leading up to Juneteenth. So thank you for the city's support. We don't have anything on Sunday, but we do have events on Friday and Saturday, so I'll run through those really quickly. But I also want to start with Willard Library, who is going to be starting their events on Monday, June 12th. So there is something going on every day leading up to Saturday. So please find out where you fit in. Their activities are on our Facebook page and our website. Our website is juneteenthbattlecreek.com. So all the vendors will be listed there, all the entertainers, everybody who sponsored us is all listed there. If you want to volunteer, we're looking for volunteers, so please come down. Please go to the website and sign up. And Friday night, kickball is back. We are so excited. So kickball is back. If you want to, it's a community kickball game, so come on down if you want to have a great time in the park. And then at dusk, we have a movie. This is free as well. And that is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever at dusk. So you got to kind of wait till about 9:30 before that comes on. But the city does a great job of taking care of spraying for mosquitoes and stuff. So don't be scared. Come on down. Pull up your lawn chair, your blanket. The popcorn and pizza will be free. Pizza is coming on Friday night too. Can't have a movie night without pizza. And then on Saturday, we are giving away free hot dogs, chips, and punch. 750 of them. There's enough for you, you, and you. So lots of stuff coming there. Starts at 11 o'clock. And then we are adding this year, because of our additional food sponsors, to Battle Creek Public Schools and Save a Lot. The Calhoun County Democratic Party is providing popsicles, 750 popsicles now. So you are going to get your eat on all day, really. So there's something for everybody. We've got tons of vendors. We had 70 last year. We're hoping to match that and surpass it, of food, retail, information, lots of free giveaways. And then we also have the Kids Corner that was mentioned earlier. And kind of piggybacking on Men's Health, we have a Health Equity Expo. And so we have participants from Calhoun County Public Health Department with their wellness wagon to Bronson, Oaklawn. All of the hospitals and health areas are represented, and we hope that you come down and participate in that as well. And then to top it off, our headliners is Black Sheep, yay, and how can you go wrong with Tony Fields and Doug Decker? So come on out. They go on the stage at 2 o'clock, and then Black Sheep goes on at 4 o'clock. And so bring your lawn chair, have an exciting time. We welcome you. Any and everyone is welcome. During the program piece, we will be announcing all of our Community Service Award winners, but we wanted to start today with our first award winner, and that is none other than Commissioner Janasia Morris.
Hey.
Yes. So come and cheer her on, as well as our other four. So she will receive her plaque that day, as well as our other four recipients, and we are just so excited for the work that they're doing here in town. So thank you very much for that long, did I forget anything, Sam? But thank you for the time, we appreciate it.
Well, there will be a couple churches that will be celebrating on Sunday. I know Pastor Monique French, her service begins at 11:30, and they do provide an adequate meal afterwards. So feel free to stop over there. She's really rejuvenated Washington Heights Community Ministries, and I'm very happy for her.
I want to give one more shout out to, I didn't want to forget this, but I told myself I would try to remember, to Serial City Hoopsters. Fred Jones and Greg Williams have done a phenomenal job of refurbishing the basketball court and the baseball court, and just everything around that area. They have done an amazing job and have been great partners when it comes to Juneteenth Family Day, so we thank them.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Did we get a picture taken?
Yes.
Rebecca, thank you. God bless you. Next item on our agenda is Chair noting any added or deleted resolutions.
There were none.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is petitions, communications, and reports.
There were none.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the adoption of ordinance 149. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Chapter 830, Alarm Systems, needs amendments to update minimum installation standards for burglar alarms and fire alarms, the registration and permitting process, inspection of alarm systems, and user fees, to provide incentives to reduce false alarms and to allow the fire department and police department to not respond after excessive false alarms have been documented. Amendments are also necessary to ungender ordinance language. This resolution seeks to adopt ordinance number 06-2023, amending Chapter 803, Alarm Systems of City Ordinances, to update minimum installation standards, registration, user fees, false alarms, and to ungender language.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to adopt ordinance resolution 06-2023. Are there any comments at this time on this resolution? Are there any comments on this resolution? Are there any commission comments on this resolution? Seeing none, would you please vote on the adoption of ordinance 149, ordinance 06-2023? The ordinance has been adopted. Next item on our agenda is public comment regarding consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda. If you'd like to make public comment regarding the consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to make your comments. Please state your name and address before beginning your comment and indicate which resolutions you are speaking to. Yes, Lindsay Wheeler.
Name is Lindsay Wheeler. My address is filed with the city clerk. I'm speaking to Resolution 163 and 167. I ask that you approve the Freedom of Information Act because people need to know where the utilities are going to be laid. If there's any sweetheart deals to cross certain lands and not others, and people need to know if there's going to be eminent domain forced upon them. So people need to know where the utilities may be going if you have any. So I urge you to approve that resolution. On flying the pride flag, that's very offensive to men and to Christians. That's hate speech. And I know you're all got your all tied up in your frustration and anxiety over hate speech, but your pride flag is hate speech. The government is supposed to promote the good, not evil. Homosexuality is a sin. It's condemned by God and the Bible. It harms boys that, need to be trained what is the right way of doing things. And it's an inversion of nature. So I urge you not to fly that flag because you're promoting it. You're evangelizing it. You're proselytizing homosexuality. Instead of producing normal people with normal drives, we are perverting our young with flying that pride flag. So I urge you, and that is hate speech because you're all hating Christians anyway, and you hate straight white men anyway, so it's hate speech.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Well, I was just about ready to continue. We'll go to John Kennefick and then we'll do you, young man. Thanks.
John Kennefick, 234 South Avenue. I'll be talking about 3 resolutions. 159. 159 has to do with an increase to the inspection division. It is said in the backup material, it is anticipated that there will not be an increase nor decrease in permit fee revenue. Rather, it will equalize fees based on project construction calculations. That's one of the most flat-out lies I've ever heard in my life. They're going to give you cost increases. It's coming, and that's the purpose of this resolution. I suggest you vote against it. Now let's go to Resolution 160. That's the tax bond schedule. I became aware of the tax bond schedule in 2010 when the City Commission assured the citizens of Battle Creek there would be no cost increases because of the financial situation in the United States. 3 months later, they gave 232 cost increases. If you listen very carefully by the city clerk when she comes up here and starts talking about Resolution 160, she won't mention how many cost increases in the 63 pages of this tax bond schedule. I counted them. There's 176 cost increases. So you can look at a lot of different cost increases in regards to that matter. Taxing the heck out of everybody. There are some decreases, but I always use the joke, somebody gives you a nickel and then takes 50 cents out of your pocket. It's kind of like there are more cost increases than there are decreases. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about Resolution 161. Now, this is going to be really a great one because people are not going to like this. It has to do with the police and fire pension funds. I don't know what they get paid, unfortunately. I do know that the millage rate is going up. It's going up 0.255 cents per mill. I've had a lot of concerns, especially to people that I have to deal with, and I'm explaining to them because you're having this increase. After the increase of the assessments going up, all my customers got cost increases. Also, businesses increase their products and services because of the tax increase. Now, one of my customers said back to me, how can we give them a cost increase if we don't get cost increases? There's been a complaint amongst veterans and low-income people that it's hard to afford their taxes, property taxes, and you're just giving them an extra cost. I'm not saying no to any of these, and I'm not saying yes to any of these. I just suggest you be extremely aware of what you're doing. I would say that this commission is going to vote for all three. It reminds me of the old joke, meet the new commissioners, same as the old commissioners. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Too much paperwork.
Hi, I'm Bruce McKay. I actually live in Paw Paw, but I do construction work, construction management in the city of Battle Creek. Thank you for having me. I'm actually wanting to talk about Resolution 159. From a construction manager side, having a standardized valuation model up front actually helps us on the upfront side of cost management as well as administration. So just want to come up here and speak towards that to have you guys strongly recommend moving forward with that one.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
comments. Yes, Cody Newman.
Good evening. I'm Cody Newman. I reside at 117 West Michigan Avenue, Battle Creek, Michigan. I am also here to speak on behalf of Resolution 159. We are an architecture firm located downtown here. I'm the owner of that firm. We do projects all across the country. We're licensed from Washington to New Jersey down to Florida, so literally all across the country. We found that most cities actually do it this way. It's very common to see it done this way on a per cost basis. The issue we have right now is a lot of it's per square foot, like it's by square footage, which is difficult because the complexity of projects can range so much. So like the Milton, for example, downtown here, large building, if you're not familiar with it, it has a ton of residential units. There's a lot of complexities to that. So that's square footage wise compared to like a metal building out in Fort Custer that is like similar in size, but has a bunch of machinery in it and there's just not much to the building itself. So we're weighing those permits as the same, even though one is extremely more time consuming to do reviews of drawings and permitting versus the cost of a project. If you base it off of that, it's much easier to have fair fees in that regard. Same thing, we do a lot of rehabs in the city, and we found that sometimes you can be rehabbing a small portion of the building, but paying a large permit fee just based on the size of the building. So I am in favor of the resolution tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Any other public comments? Yes, ma'am. Kathy Antea.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, City staff. Kathy Antea, Park Ridge Drive. Thank you very much. I just want a quick comments about two items, 166 and 167. As an old, privileged white woman who adopted Battle Creek as her new hometown, I have to tell you, every year when these come up, I am really proud of my city commissioners because they always are proving how much high regard we have for diversity and inclusion in our community. And by flying the Pride flag and by flying the Juneteenth flag, we are publicly announcing that we are supportive of all the people in our community. And I want to just say, once again, thank you very much for doing that. I know sometimes it can be a tough decision, but I think it's a no-brainer. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Any other public comment? Yes, Pastor. Jim, did you want to go next?
Well, I just had a question about order. Is 167 going to be brought up for comment separately, or is this?
Yeah, I think you have to speak now. So I'll call on you next, Jim. Thanks.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners and City staff. I'm Reverend Julie Elmore, and I currently serve as pastor of the Chapel Hill United Methodist Church. I just moved here a year ago, and so I live at 192 Brentwood Drive here in Battle Creek. And so I speak in favor of Resolution 167, and I echo the comments that were just heard. And when I moved to Battle Creek, I had a sense that this was a more inclusive place than I had ever lived in my life. And so I feel that that flying the pride flag continues to communicate that we are inclusive of all persons, even those who disagree with us. So I urge us to fly the pride flag. Thank you.
Well, welcome to Battle Creek, first of all, and 192 Brentwood used to be my paper route when I was a kid. So. Do you still have a paper boy? All right. Thank you, and welcome to Battle Creek. Jim?
Jim Aldridge, 167 Althea Avenue, and my pronouns are he and him. And I just want to speak to the Resolution 167 as well and ask that the Commission support the raising of that flag during the month of July, which is the month that the Battle Creek LGBT community is going to be celebrating Pride, partly because there are so many that celebrate in June. We thought we'd take some of the pressure off of people and make it easier. I just feel that any of the flags that are flown out front and that the City Commission chooses to fly highlight people, sometimes people that are marginalized and may feel that they're not part of the community, because if you're not white and if you're not part of that group of people, it's assumed that you're not quite up to par. So we just appreciate having a flag like that flying to let people know, and people that are maybe not part of this community that happen to come through that are part of, identify with that flag, that they are welcome in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Any other public comments at the time? Yes. David Moore. I forgot your name, David.
Okay. Here's a comment. I mentioned times before on these resolutions like 59, 57. Like I say, we should take more time and study them over and be more careful what we vote on, and people should know more about it. And you don't want to tell the people, get involved. That's what I got to say.
Thank you, David. Yes, Dana?
Good evening. My name is Dina Spencer, and I reside at 34 Radley Street here in Battle Creek. And I would just like to reiterate some of the previous comments that have been made about Resolution 167 and 166 as well. And although I feel like the current amendment to the flag resolution maybe made it a little less inclusive, that being said, I'm still glad that it is on the books and that it is here, and that our city does have the opportunity to fly our flag and the Juneteenth flag both, because I agree, just because that flag may not represent who you are does not mean that there's not people in our city that need to be represented, and it does make people like myself and the kids that come to our youth group feel like they belong here, and that they have a place here, and that they have a voice, and that they are important, and that they are valued, and that they matter. So I'm really proud of that, and I know the city just went through a really extensive equity audit, and I just want to remind everybody there is more than one type of equity, and this is another opportunity for us to showcase that and to represent that, and I just really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments at this time? See none? Next item on our agenda is commission comment regarding meeting business.
I move for the approval of the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions that the commission have on the consent agenda? See none, please vote on the consent agenda. The consent agenda has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 159.
As an enforcing agency for the State of Michigan Construction Code, the Inspections Division Service Delivery Standard Operating Procedures and funding structure is routinely assessed to ensure fulfillment of both responsibilities and needs of the community. The City of Battle Creek building permit fee structure has historically been calculated using a square foot model. Industry assessment is that this model is archaic and does not align with the true value of construction. It has been determined that a square foot model lacks methodology for standardizing building valuations, does not keep up with inflation, and valuations of construction provided by applicants are often underestimated. This resolution seeks to approve adoption of a standard valuation model for the Inspections Division building permit fee structure.
So moved.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 159. Any comments by the commission? Commissioner Jim Lance.
Thank you, Your Honor. I spoke to several members of the community, both developers, builders, and the general consensus is there's still some uncertainties about what we're about to do in terms of changing the structure. I've heard it, that this is more consistent with other cities looking at it. That very well may be true, but in a world of transparency, in a world that we live in today where discussions should be had and should be made, speaking to the folks that I did, I don't feel like they felt that they were involved so much with this. In fact, when I showed them what we were about to talk about, they were shocked by it. So, with that being said, I think there needs to be a larger discussion. So I would make a motion to postpone the vote on this until, or not to occur before August, I think 18th is our next commission meeting. Gives us about 60 days.
Support.
Support if needed.
It's been moved and supported to postpone the vote on Resolution 159 until August 18th. City Attorney, did I say that properly?
Yes, Mayor.
All right,
Procedurally, it's correct.
thank you. All right, are there comments? Chris Simmons?
So I guess my question to be, since you introduced this, Commissioner Lance, is your expectation that there be some sort of public workshop where these interested parties could be engaged?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
It's my hope and my belief that there will be some engagement with the city from the groups that I talked to. So I don't think we need a public workshop. I know that probably breaks some of our
I know you're not a fan of workshops.
But assuming, I'm putting the faith in these folks who raise these concerns to me, because if they don't approach the city and talk to them about these issues, they're going to lose out on an opportunity to be heard. And I think all these folks here who constantly show up to our stuff, I may disagree what they say, but they show up. And so my hope and my belief is they will reach out to the city, and I hope that the city inspections department also reaches out to these folks. I'm happy to talk to you afterwards, because I know that you talked to some of them prior to this meeting to encourage them to come. They were not able to come because of some other events, but I do know that they made specific inquiries to various people to support this, not people who did not support this.
That was my question for Commissioner Lance. May I follow up on a question to the city staff? Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
Regarding this, we're adopting millage rates and some other things for the budget tonight, and I'm not sure how much this would play a part in if we delay that. Does that put a kink in anything as far as our planning budgetary-wise? Maybe just address that if we delay it and what the ramifications of a delay would be.
Sure. The only thing we would need to do is, at the time the commission considers the next resolution, we would just simply make a motion to remove the fees that were reflected on the advanced permitting system, and we would do that at a later time. So if the commission votes to authorize the postponement until August 18th, we would have to come back with an amendment to the fee bond insurance schedule for that, but it is certainly possible.
Understood. Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Jake Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the folks that came out to speak to us on this issue tonight. I would definitely like to hear more. Considering what Commissioner Lance had mentioned, I don't mind putting a little more time on the clock to make sure we get this right, though. But again, thank you. I love hearing from folks that actually operate, that interface with a lot of these rules we make, because you guys are on the ground. So thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Any other commission comments at this? Roger Ballard.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I just want to say that I'm in favor of delaying it as well, and one of the big concerns that my constituents have is the fee structure for alarms on personal property. So let's review that. Thank you.
As a point of order, this is not the alarm ordinance that's presented in front of you right now. That is going to be coming up later in this meeting.
No, it was already done.
Isn't it?
The alarm was adopted as an
Right,
earlier on.
earlier on.
I thought it was down in the bellies of the fee structure, $5 for personal and $55
There are
for-
fees for the alarm ordinance that was just passed in the fee bond and insurance schedule. But if I'm understanding what Commissioner Simmons asked and Commissioner Lance, we would be asking the commission to consider the fee bond insurance schedule as written, but we would remove the fees associated with the adoption of a standard valuation model for inspections, not the fees for alarms.
Okay, so the fees for the alarms are just automatic then?
They're as written unless
written.
a commissioner were to
Okay.
motion to change or motion to table for additional information.
Okay. Well, I'm in favor of the tabling. I'm not in favor of the fee structure for the personal.
Okay, so then you're going to have to amend 160 if you're not in favor of the fee structures for the alarms.
Okay.
All right, getting back to 159, are there any other comments? Seeing none, would you please vote on 159 then?
This is a voting for, point of order, this is voting for postponing.
The postponement.
To August 18th.
August 18th.
Thanks, Chris.
The motion to postpone has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 160.
Section 802.24 of the codified ordinances of the City of Battle Creek provides that the City Commission shall, from time to time, by resolution, enact a schedule of fees required to be paid, bonds required to be posted, and insurance required to be carried. The fee, bond, and/or insurance is required to obtain a license to engage in the operation, conduct, or carrying on of any trade, profession, business, or privilege for which a license or permit is required by the codified ordinances. This resolution seeks approval of the 2023-2024 fee, bond, and insurance schedule for the City of Battle Creek.
So moved.
Support.
The moved and supported to approve Resolution 160. Are there any comments by the Commission? Commissioner, Vice Mayor, Sherry Sophia.
Thank you, Mayor. City Manager Fleury, can you talk a little bit about how we're going to need to change this resolution to reflect what we adopted on Resolution 159?
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor and Mayor. Just for clarification, yes, we would amend it to remove the fees related to the standard valuation model and insert the current fee structure, because we need to have the fees in the fee bond and insurance schedule, so it would just revert to what it is right now until such time as the commission were to review it again at the August 18th meeting. I also wanted to clarify that if Commissioner Ballard wants to make some sort of amendment to the alarm fee schedule, this is the time to do that as well.
Okay. Any other Commission comments at this time?
Mayor?
Yes.
I would like then to postpone on number 160 until clarification can be given or reconsideration can be given for the personal fees on alarms to personal residents. And now, I'm not opposed, just as an explanation to that, I'm not opposed to personal being charged if it's a habitual thing, but I think we should have a structure of 3 to 5 times that it goes off in a year that they don't get charged.
I'm going to have Marcel speak to that.
Thank you.
And then also ask the city manager to weigh in. Marcel's one of our city attorneys.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners. Marcel Stetzel, Deputy City Attorney. Commissioner Ballard, I'm not sure which fees you're talking about. Are you talking the registration fee or are you talking the false alarm fee?
False alarm.
Okay, so the current fee structure is false alarm fee is imposed for a false alarm. The revisions that is in this ordinance, or that you already approved, that is in the fee bond schedule, is that the first two false alarms do not incur a fee, which tends to be somewhat consistent across the state of Michigan. Across the state of Michigan, we currently charge $10.
Okay.
Is the current proposal, or is the current ordinance. The revisions are going to zero for the first two occurrences. Across the state of Michigan, the first occurrence ranges from 0 up to $250 for the first occurrence, if you happen to live in Ann Arbor. Jackson charges $100. Jackson charges $100 across the board for every occurrence. The max that I surveyed is, for the fourth occurrence in one other community, it's $300. Ours is simple. First time you get a pass, you get notified, hopefully you take care of the problem. Second time, same thing. Third occurrence in the same calendar year is when the fees start kicking in.
And the third time, the fee would be $10?
It's currently $10 across the board. Under the new proposal, it would be $50 for the third instance. And so to help bring that into perspective, when we began, we being our office, the fire department staff, and the police department, in 2016, there were 3,000 alarms that the police department, burglar alarms that the police department responded to. 66% of those were false. Since then, we've reached a high of 82% of the alarm calls have been false. The low has been 62%.
Can you tell me if that's personal versus business?
That is across the board.
Okay, so that could be business doing most of those.
It could be. I don't have the breakdown of that in front of me at the moment.
Okay.
Fire alarm in 2016 didn't keep track of it. In the last 5 years, the fire department has responded to 46,703 incident calls, 20,000 of which were incidents to commercial properties. 2,147 of those were false alarms. So on the fire department side, only 11%. The larger problem is with the burglar alarms, and whether it's personal or commercial.
Could I ask you to explain a little bit more about, this only pertains to it if you're signed up? Did I understand that correctly, Mayor? That it's only if you sign up for the situation, or if person, I'm just asking him what we talked about earlier to clarify that.
Well, maybe I can help. The new definitions try to help people understand what constitutes an alarm under this ordinance and what does not. In fact, it's quite an expanded definition for an alarm system and for alarm users. This is an alarm that's designed to transmit a signal or a message to a central monitoring station. This is not your home smoke alarm type of systems or fire alarm systems that are not connected to a central monitoring system. If you have a system where you desire to connect to central monitoring, to have then hopefully a call to Calhoun County Central Dispatch, that would fall under the existing ordinance and would continue to fall under the proposed changes in our ordinance. That was already passed.
Right.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on fees?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, well, before we go any further, hold on, Marcel. You got support on that? Did we get support on your?
I have a support.
So you want to postpone the fee structure vote for the alarm fees?
Correct.
I'll give you the vote. I'll support it.
All right, so we do have a motion to postpone.
I have it.
Until when?
Okay, and we're going to go to Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you, Mayor. Marcel, just for my clarification, you mentioned that it was $10 now just across the board, whether it be commercial or residential?
Correct.
Oh, okay, so it's the same fee.
Same fee that has been in place since, I believe it was 1985.
And talking about going 50, it would be the same fee for residential and commercial?
Correct.
Thank you.
And there is, again, if we look back at the ordinance, not the fee-bound insurance schedule, there are provisions and opportunities to address the problem of why you are having a false alarm situation at your property. In fact, at least 3 opportunities within a calendar year.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Simmons?
Point of order on the postponement. I believe a postponement has to have a specific date attached to it. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct, but Attorney Baber needs to introduce something because there is language in the ordinance that the commission just approved earlier in this meeting that defines the fee.
That is correct. So this does raise some additional challenges should Commissioner Ballard's motion be passed and it gets postponed, and then ultimately if changes are made to the fee schedule, mainly because Resolution 149, which this commission just passed, if we look at the language of that resolution under 803.06 pertaining to false alarms, it sets out in section A1 that no fee shall be charged for the first or second false alarm in the calendar year. $50 shall be charged by the city and paid by the alarm user for the third false alarm. So there will be a conflict between what's in the resolution that just passed versus what would be in the fee schedule, should we proceed with the recommendation of Commissioner Ballard.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
So this is a procedural question, attorneys. So should we be interested in pursuing what Commissioner Ballard is proposing? Could we vote to reconsider the vote by which Resolution 159 passed? We have not adjourned. We adopted it just within the last half hour. Can we move to reconsider that vote, reconsider and reject the adoption of the ordinance, and then delay the adoption of the ordinance to a point in the future when we would also adopt a fee bond schedule?
It's one of those questions where I wish I had my Robert's Rules of Orders handy and available to me, and Marcel does have a little bit more experience than me, and I will defer if Marcel has a quick answer. Otherwise, it might be an instance where we would have to adjourn to give you an accurate answer to that particular question.
Before we go to that, Vice Mayor Sophia and Commissioner Ballard, I spoke in error. So Lieutenant Martins was kind enough to point out my error to me, which I will share with you, that my notes are incorrect. The current ordinance is not $10 across the board. There was a revision. Apparently it is $15 for the first occurrence, $25 for the second occurrence, and then $50 on up.
Again, this is across the board, business and residential?
Correct,
Okay.
as we are today.
Okay. And that's before Resolution 1, or before the adoption of the ordinance?
Correct, and before adoption of the fee bond schedule, which takes the first 2 to 0.
Okay.
So I could withdraw. With the further explanation of that, and actually being in favor of residents going down, plus you get 2 freebies up front, that's what I wanted to make sure of.
Yep.
I will withdraw my motion.
And will you withdraw your support?
I withdraw my support.
Can I withdraw it
Okay.
back?
Is there any further discussion on Resolution 160? Seeing none, would you please vote on 160?
Can I ask, though, we are amending,
It's been withdrawn.
not adopt the inspection fees at this time, correct?
Correct.
But to keep them the same, because what's in the fee bond is,
Correct.
yes.
And that was motioned by Commissioner Lance, and was that Commissioner Smith? Were you the one who supported that?
No.
For Commissioner Ballard's amendment?
No.
To postpone the.
Yes, Commissioner Lance.
And it's the building section only in the fee bond and insurance schedule.
So I have a point of order question. So we have to change the amendment first, vote on the amended change that we're going to do to August in this one also, because it's included in there, and then we can vote on the whole entire package?
Okay, I didn't hear that it was August, so.
I thought he said August 18th was the proposed.
That's on 159.
That was on.
159, so on 160, though, part of that's in 160. This vote, do we not have to remove it from the fee schedule that we have in front of us as it then re-amend it because it's in there?
Yes, and I thought that was a motion to amend it to reflect not including the standard valuation model fees in the building section only and keep the current fees in place. That's the only amendment to the proposed fee bond and insurance schedule.
Okay, just want to make sure because we
Certainly.
have the alarm thing, and I understand the alarm has been
Understand.
removed, so.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioners, for the clarifications.
Clerk, are we on the same page?
I believe so.
All right.
What are we're voting for
160.
160 amended, yes. No, mine doesn't want to play fair anymore. There we go. It showed up.
It would be a point of order. It'd be 160 as amended pursuant to motion by Commissioner Lance and support by, was it Commissioner Smith? Yes.
Amended 160 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 161.
Per the Battle Creek budget policy of the City Commission, the city manager has prepared a recommended annual budget that considers current service levels, input from the community-wide strategic planning process, the City Commission goal-setting process, and priorities that reflect the changing needs of the community. Proper notice has been given, and a public workshop and public hearing were held for the fiscal year 2023-2024 budgets as recommended. This resolution seeks to approve the millage rate of 15.758 to be levied for fiscal year 2023-2024 and adopts the general fund and special funds budgets for the fiscal year 2023-2024 as recommended.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 161. Are there any comments by the Commission at this time? Commissioner Simmons.
So we had our budget workshop, and we went into way more detail on the tax rates there, so I'm not going to retackle all of that. The police and fire pension millage that we see going up here, we have no control over that as a commission. It floats up automatically based on, correct me if I'm wrong, based on a vote of the people back in the 1960s that put this into place that we really have no control over. It floats based on actuarial charts to figure out how the police and fire pension fund is whole, and so it goes up. Last 2 years, my understanding is that went down. And I had never, in my prior tenure on the commission, had I never seen that go down, which is good. Last year, the stock market took a little bit of a hit. This year, it seems to have come back. I'm hoping it goes back down next year. We're keeping our city, all the other city property taxes in place. So I'm supportive of this. In the past, as this police and fire pension millage has floated up, we've actually adjusted our general operating for the city down considerably. If you look at the historical numbers on that, it's considerable what we've lowered our or our general operating millage. So overall, that's continual has been coming down based on that police, just to keep everything even. So I'm supportive of this budget. I'm hopeful that that goes back down. Our police and fire, we're keeping our commitment to them that the voters instituted back in the 1960s. So I'm supportive of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments at this time? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 161? Resolution 161 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 162.
Appellant submitted a request for documents on April 24, 2023 that was assigned identifier FOIA number 23-985. On May 2, 2023, appellant's FOIA request was denied in its entirety as the requested records did not exist. On May 3, 2023, appellant appealed the May 2, 2023 denial to Mayor Mark Banky, the city clerk, and other city employees. On May 10, 2023, appellant was notified that potentially responsive documents may exist and the documents were being reviewed. On May 19, 2023, appellant was provided a revised denial for the reasons that the requested public records were exempt from disclosure based upon MCL Section 15.243, Section 1E, F, I, and III, M, and Y. On May 19, 2023, appellant appealed the revised denial to Mayor Banky, the city clerk, and other city employees. The appeal did not set out any basis for the appeal as required by both the state statute, MCL 15.240, and the city appeal process, City of Battle Creek, Freedom of Information Act Procedures and Guidelines, Section 7. This resolution seeks affirmation of the denial of Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, request number 23-985 by Mr. Glenn Kowalowski.
So moved.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 162. Are there any comments by the Commission? Seeing none, would you please vote? Resolution 162 has been approved. Counselor, do we still go to 163?
Because of the, pardon me, I don't know if anybody can hear me. It's my first time at the big tables. Apologize if I'm not scooted close enough to the mic. Because of the, this resolution just passed, then the following resolution, I think it's 162, should 163, I'm sorry, 163 would be pulled by the city manager considering the vote that just took place.
Okay. You want to make that official declaration?
Yes, yes, we can pull number 163 based on the decision of the Commission of 162.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 164.
The applicant is seeking special use approval for a new parking lot, parking as a principal use, on a portion of the vacant parcel which fronts onto West Van Buren Street. The applicant is proposing 28 parking spaces, including 3 ADA spaces, and a total of 7,600 square feet of paved area. The subject site is a total of 52,113.09 square feet, or 1.196 acres. The applicant is proposing to utilize a portion of the vacant lot fronting on West Van Buren Street for a parking lot to serve the adjacent Youth Village Child Care Center, as well as other uses and activities of the broader Youth Village as a whole. As a reminder, the applicant recently received special use approval for the adjacent Child Care Center. This resolution seeks to approve petition S06-23, a special use permit request for approval of parking as a principal use in a T4 downtown commercial district on a vacant parcel located on Van Buren Street, parcel number 0601-39-542-0.
So moved.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 164. Are there any comments, corrections, or clarifications needed by the Commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 164? Resolution 164 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 165.
The City of Battle Creek prepared a home ARP allocation plan in accordance with HUD guideline published on September 13, 2021, titled Requirements for the Use of Funds in the Home American Rescue Plan Program. As part of the preparation of the allocation plan, city staff issued a request for proposals from the community. 9 proposals were received, totaling roughly $4 million. 6 proposals were recommended for $959,090 of home ARP funding. The allocation plan was approved by the City Commission during its August 8, 2022 meeting, setting aside funding for programs that provide supportive services and the development of permanent supportive housing units. The agreement with Neighborhoods Incorporated will provide funding for a case manager for 3 years. The case manager shall offer individualized services and educational programs to qualified program participants in an effort to promote stable, healthy homes and neighborhoods and prevent homelessness. The case manager shall assess individuals to determine barriers and needs and will offer services such as literacy and financial education, benefits assistance and referrals, rapid rehousing, and budget making. Case managers shall also assist in educating both clients and landlords on maintaining positive relationships. This resolution is seeking authorization for the city manager to execute the 2023 Home ARP Neighborhoods Incorporated of Battle Creek Supportive Services Grant Agreement for the amount of $147,000.
So moved.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 165. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications needed by the Commission at this time? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 165? Resolution 165 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 166.
On May 2nd, 2023, the City Commission approved Resolution Number 134, establishing a revised policy regarding flag display. This policy declares that the city's flagpoles are not intended to serve as a forum for free expression of the public, but rather for the display of federal, state, and city flags, as well as the temporary addition under the city flag of any commemorative flag as may be authorized by resolution of the City Commission as an expression of the city's official sentiments. If approved, this resolution, in accordance with the revised flag policy, seeks to direct staff to fly the Juneteenth flag from noon on June 7, 2023 through June 30, 2023 at Claude Evans Park.
So moved.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 166. Are there any comments by the Commission on this resolution? Commissioner Simmons.
So again, I've articulated my issues that I have with our flag policy. I'm opposed to flying our flags. On our city flags out front, I'm looking at our national, state, and federal flag. It would pain me to vote against the Blue Star Mothers, which is an organization which is very near dear to my heart. And this is different because this is not flying on our official flags out in front of City Hall. I'm supportive of this. This is one of the things I suggested we do in our flag policy committee, that maybe we have a special flagpole for commemorative flags that I think would be a more appropriate location. And this is the first one that's come before us that is flying in a different location. Also, there was a discussion about which organizations would be eligible for that, which flags would be eligible, and Juneteenth is obviously now a federal holiday, which is a great thing, and so that's something that's obviously supported by all levels of government, and so I'm supportive of this, but still not supportive of the resolutions. Nothing against any of the flags that have come before us. Nothing personally, again, voting against something that an organization's pretty near and dear to my heart on the one currently flying out there, and nothing against the other ones that have come before us on the other ones. So thought I needed to articulate that. I'm going to vote for this one, but not the next one. Thanks.
Any other comments? Seeing none, would you please? Oh, Commissioner O'Donnell, I'm sorry. Commissioner Reynolds.
No,
No.
I'm ready to vote.
I'm just going to speak about the flag policy as a whole because we got two of them before us right now. Again, here we are again discussing our flag policy, and it seems to be getting more heated every time. Tonight was the term hate speech was used. That really sets me off. We're trying to be a city of inclusiveness, and I am all for inclusiveness. Inclusiveness goes both ways. We have the right to disagree and agree, and when we can come together and understand that there's a common ground, that we are not all the same, That makes our community better, not throwing words at each other about whose flag's better than mine, which way it flies. It feels great to see the Blue Star flag flying out there. Don't get me wrong, it's a great group. They didn't feel inclusive enough in the city, and they got to fly a flag. There's got to be a better policy. We just sit here every commission meeting when a flag wants to come up and discuss it and throw hateful words back and forth at each other of who's right and wrong. As I just sit here, just one of the ideas that came to my head is can we amend it to put up a schedule at the beginning of the year of who wants to fly on our pole, apply during these certain times, and we have the schedule ready for the year. We don't have to come every month to find out who's flying what flag or something like that. I don't know. There's just got to be a better way, because I am for inclusiveness. I am for freedom of expression. But to say one thing or another, to add race into it, that's not what it is. That's not what we are in Battle Creek. We can have disagreements, but we can all come together and agree that we are individuals who support our city so much that we don't need to have hateful attacks against one another under what we consider in the words. And it was, the Bible was brought up, and I have to bring it up. It's Jesus was out there, and he said, who cast the first stone, and he started writing people's sins in the dirt, and he made them stop, because no one wants to be exposed to their own sins. We don't need that. We need to provide the support of one another, the support of all individuals to have the freedom to live in Battle Creek. So I thank you with that. I just want to say that this is what I think of every time I see this flag thing come up. So that's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate your comments. Any other comments at this time? Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I've said before, I do not think that we should be flying anything other than the federal, state, and local flags, and so we'll be voting against both this resolution and the one following.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Seeing no more comments, please vote on Resolution 166. Resolution 166 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 167.
On May 2nd, 2023, the City Commission approved Resolution 134, establishing a revised policy regarding flag display. This policy declares that the city's flagpoles are not intended to serve as a forum for free expression of the public, but rather for the display of federal, state, and city flags, as well as the temporary addition under the city flag of any commemorative flag as may be authorized by resolution of the City Commission as an expression of the city's official sentiments. If approved, this resolution, in accordance with the revised flag policy, seeks to authorize staff to fly the flag at City Hall from noon on July 3rd, 2023 through July 31, 2023.
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 167. Are any comments by the Commission? Questions or clarifications needed? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 167? Resolution 167 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is general public comment. If you'd like to make general public comment regarding matters over which the City Commission has control, please raise your hand and wait for us to acknowledge you, and then come forward to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to make your comment. Please state your name and address prior to beginning your comment. David Moore?
On the first three resolutions, I'd like to see people get more involved. I think we just here, I don't quite fully understand it. We're just going to have programs that, I know it's here, we got on these channels, what's been written out on it. We got another channel, the commission channel. There's a lot more added to it. This is a public channel. It's just briefly written out. And I can say again, like I have said before, things should be more education and more learning, and people should more get involved. It's a two-sided deal here. Both got to show more interest, and like I'm slow myself. I'm hard to understand this stuff, but I think there should be a little more we can do where people can fully understand and get people more involved. And that's what McDonald said here. Things ain't worked out. We can work things out and plan in different ways. Just because you got opinion, agreement, doesn't mean you're for it or against it. It says, like McDonald said here, things should be, find out a program that could be worked out. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Any other public comment at this time? Yes, Lynn Gray.
Mayor, Commissioners, Lynn Gray, 245 Irving Park Drive, Battle Creek. Just wanted to thank you for supporting Resolution 167 and 166, and more announcements, because I forgot one other important activity going on at Juneteenth, and that is the bike giveaway. So Bobby Holly is going to be in the park, and he will be giving 10 bikes away. And so we are really encouraging families not only to come out Friday for the kickball and the movie, but come out Saturday. I would say get there early at 11 so you can start with the free food and then be present just after the program. Bobby Holly will be giving away those 10 bikes, so you don't want to miss out on that for the young people. And also, not only is Commissioner Morris being recognized, but one other person just showed up, and his group is being recognized with a Community Service Award. So let's give a round of applause to Black Sheep as an organization. They are receiving an award as well, and they are here. He's like, you? He said, what did I do? He's like, what? What happened? So thank you.
Thank you, Lynn Gray. Any other public comment this time? Lindsay Wheeler, and then we'll go to the end.
Close this down. I don't need to vote anymore. Lindsay Wheeler, my address is on file with the city clerk. Welcome to Weimar America. Same stuff going on in the Weimar is happening now throughout America. It's funny that you've rebuilt and brought back to life, like Jesus yourselves. God destroyed 3 things in Genesis: the reprobate generations after Adam, the Tower of Babel, and Sodom and Gomorrah. And funny, you've rebuilt it all. Great on you. From the Communist Manifesto, communism abolishes eternal truths. It abolishes all religion and all morality. That's what you did today. You're communists. And Stephen Wise, Rabbi Stephen Wise in 1935 said, some call it Marxism, others, I call it Judaism. Henry Wotton wrote a book in 1939, and he said, and he's Jewish, the soul of communism is the soul of Judaism. Welcome to Judaism, cultural Marxism. I'm a researcher into cultural Marxism. I know what it is. You ever heard of Zabbatai Zvi or Frankism? Where he taught where you must break all the rules in order for the Messiah to come. That's true. You're Jews, really. There are no Christians in Battle Creek. You're all communists. And that's exactly what you've done. Spread evil. In Catholic morality, there are 9 ways to sin: promotion or silence. And your flying of the flag means you're all guilty of the sin of homosexuality, and you'll receive that punishment. It's a disgrace. It's disgusting. You're harming young men. You're teaching perversion. Sin has to be suppressed, or else it grows. And it's growing now in America. America's a failed state. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Mental disease is growing. It's a disaster. You think you might live in your fantasy worlds, but the reality is something different. And yeah, that showing of that flag is just disgusting. Just disgusting.
Are there any other public comments at this time? No. Yes.
Good evening, Dina Spencer again at 34 Radley Street in Battle Creek. I personally want to say thank you to the commission as a collective whole, and I know a couple of you were not in favor of this resolution 167 and 166, but I want to implore you all, because this will come up again next year, possibly later this year, to give it some further thought, that to remember just because it doesn't represent you doesn't mean that there aren't folks that need representation, that don't feel represented by those flags that are blown out front, that feel excluded by those flags. So I just want to remind you to please think about that and just give that some thought. And try to understand that you won't feel that because you're never not going to be represented, those of you that voted no. You'll never feel that. And so just remember that. And as a collective whole, I thank you for passing both resolutions. It's very meaningful, I know, to our community, and I know it's really meaningful to other communities as well, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment at this time? Yes, Jerry Steiner.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Jerry Steiner. I live at 115 South 26th Street here in Battle Creek, and if I could, I'd like to change the theme a little bit. Go back to Juneteenth and flying the flag. All that's wonderful, y'all. All that's great. I'm gonna get together with some of my friends on Juneteenth, and we're gonna party and do what we got to do. But what about reparations? You're talking about 1865 when all this came about. What about reparations? Don't nobody say nothing about paying. I can do all the partying I want to and fly the flag, but I need some money. Now I'm gonna leave that one with you, and I'm gonna hit you with another one. Woke, critical race theory. Look here, one thing we do as Americans and as human beings, we always try to find something wrong with each other. Let me tell you, kind of trips me out a little bit. We got a governor in Florida, governor, what is his name now? Yeah, well, Trump calls him something else. But anyway, he says he wants to get rid of African American studies in the schools. Now, if I'm correct, America fought a civil war to make sure my ancestors had the opportunity to do what I'm doing right now. Stand here and air my grievances. But when we got people always trying to bring up how to keep the black man down, I got a problem with that, as y'all know. Now here's a governor running for president that says African American studies are not academically relevant. I take exception to that. I always take exception to that. Like I told y'all, hey, this politics stuff, I'm just a messenger. I'm looking for some young people to take over because, I'm getting on in age. You dig? My sincere, and I mean this to the bottom of my heart, accomplishments of all you good folks, because I care about all you, because one day y'all gonna need somebody to care about y'all, just like I'm gonna need somebody to care about me. But my sincere congratulations, and I'm humbled when I say this, Commissioner Reynolds, Commissioner Morris, I'm extremely proud of you, because 4 years ago, wasn't but one of you on the commission. We had it up to 4. Hopefully, if some people that hear me in the sound of my voice, young people, get in politics, let's even the playing field. Like the guy said, well, everything's gonna be the same. I apologize. I'm down to what? Oh, I went over my time.
Yep, you're over.
So what y'all gonna do, hold me in contempt again?
Peace out.
All right. Peace.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. Any other public comments? Yes, Reverend.
Reverend Julie Elmore, 192 Brentwood Drive. I wanted to say thank you for your affirmation, your voting 166 and 167. I feel at peace that I can continue to raise my son in this community, that he will be open-hearted and open-minded, and that all God's children can find a place in this community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public comments? Yes.
Sam Gray, 245 Irving Park. Just want to say thanks to the city, staff, and those who helped put on the Taste of the Creek. It was an awesome event. I don't know how many of y'all went down there, but it was a really amazing event, and the organizers really did a good job, and the city helped to put that on. There were some screw-ups at first, but, you know, like any event, first time, you know, there's always going to be some problems. So, you know, give the city some grace, you know, on that. And I just want to say thank you for all the support that we're getting for the Juneteenth celebration. This is like unprecedented support that we're getting this time around, and really appreciate all the support. And I'm going to put on my Housing Commission hat. So some of you were on the commission at the time. I'm sure this is going to come back up, and that is support public-based housing here in the city. There's so many homeless folks and stuff like that are on the street, people like that are on the street, and we have someone that wants to come in here and invest in this city and to make this, actually it's project-based housing, this project-based housing initiative work in this city. And we cannot have, you know, I understand, you know, why it was voted down, because we're in the COVID process. And so, you know, not a whole lot of communication was going on and that kind of stuff. So I realize that. But this is something that's very important to those that are living on the street, that need support and resources to help them. And so when this comes back up before you again, I'm really hoping, you know, that, you know, this cannot be a not in my backyard kind of situation. It cannot be that, all right? Because they're living right here in your backyard right now. So let's go a little deeper when we think about, you know, trying to help these folks out and provide them with a decent place to live, to get them off the street, get them connected to resources, and perhaps, you know, we can do more with the Kmart property and the one that, you know, we're after or just checking into. So someone asked me, you know, could I get the notes from that meeting? If that's possible, I would like to share that with some of the citizens that actually would support, you know, this kind of thing, because all we got that day was just opposition. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sam. Any other public comments at this time? Yes, John Kennefick.
John Kennefick, 234 South Avenue. 6 days ago was June 1st. That was a Thursday. And at 10:26 p.m., something happened on that day. It went unnoticed, probably by all of you, probably of some insignificance, maybe more, maybe yes. What happened was, on the U.S. debt clock, punch in real time and go to the lower right-hand corner, and you'll see the uninsured debt liability. On June 1st, it transferred over from $187 trillion that the citizens of Battle Creek, or excuse me, the citizens of the United States owe, to $188 trillion. That was done within a 40-day period. It's accelerating of the uninsured debt liability. What that means in reality, or what's coming in the future, is that in 5 months' time, it will go $4 more trillion to $192 trillion. And what that means simply is every tax-paying citizen in the United States will owe back to the federal government $1,500,000. That is not the U.S. debt, that is the uninsured debt liability. Now, what this has to do, basically, we're out of control, and that's not going to change things. But I'm always concerned with fiscal responsibility, even with the city of Battle Creek. And I always get really nervous when the government and the city commission approve loans called municipal bonds. Because they're not paying just back the cost of what the repair or whatever you're doing is, it's also the interest rate. So I'd wondered the question, over the last 30 years, how many hundreds of millions of dollars in interest have been paid back to the lending agencies for the loans that were taken out and approved by this commission and previous commissions over the last 30 years. And that's money that came out of the taxpayers' pockets, and that is something very disturbing. I suggest you watch what you do very carefully. If I was a city commissioner, I'd be looking at all the costs that were done to see how much money actually left the citizens of Battle Creek into the pockets of other people. And basically, it also shows that when you try to solve a problem, you take out a loan, you didn't plan it very well, did you? Thank you very much.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, any commission comments? Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank everybody for coming out for public comment tonight. You know, I think a lot of times folks come into this room and they think, you know, the die is cast, this thing is settled. I'm talking to a wall. But, you know, just tonight, I mean, I've struggled with the flag policy, but my mind changed tonight in this meeting. It was because of public comments, and I'm going to sleep well tonight knowing I'm on the right side of it. So thank you for coming, everybody. I appreciate the comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any, Commissioner O'Donnell?
First of all, yes, I talked about the flag policy earlier. I got a little emotional there, and I'm sorry to apologize for that if I got people upset. I really do have a passion for the city, and I really wanted to say some more about Juneteenth during that flag. I'm so happy that we are able to fly that in that location and celebrate something that's very historic and is now a federal holiday and is being recognized. So I just wanted to make sure that I truly support what you do to the city, and it is great that you can keep that party going. I want to welcome Chief Bagley now. It's now Chief official yesterday. And I want to say, Sam, thank you for talking about the fair housing. We do need to work on that in this town. There's a lot of people that need affordable housing, and it will help with the inclusiveness of our city. And happy, I call it Cereal Week, and I'm glad the parade's back. If everyone can make it out Friday to the parade, that's one of my favorite things, has always been in youth, to getting down there and seeing the parade. And for the years, we tried to have it one time and it rained out. Tried to have it a different time and graduation got in the way, but I think we finally got it back. So, and congratulations to our Grand Marshal, Sam, for the parade on Friday too. And then I hope everybody does show up downtown and enjoy some of our cereal product, because it is great to have a great cereal product in this town and celebrate the founding of it here. When you leave this town and go travel and tell people about Battle Creek, they always say the cereal city, and that's the first thing they do. And I take pride in that. I'm a Battle Creeker, grown up here all my life. I'm so glad to call this town my home and share it with others and try to bring them in here. One other thing, and I just want to end this, end that on a high note, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands the weather. Keep an eye on it this weekend. Is so dry. I've seen tons of grass fires. Thank you, fire department, for putting those out. We got to just make sure the next week that people take care of around them. Even driving down the road with your car, make sure it's not sparking anything. Just a little bit's going to start that. and we need to prevent the fires. But the best thing, no, right now, it's so dry, I haven't seen a mosquito. So I will leave it at that. Good night, Battle Creek.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Commissioner Roger Ballard.
Thank you. I would like to thank Janesia for doing both of the flag amendments, and I would like to thank the mayor and Commissioner Reynolds for supporting the 167. And I want to say I was very proud of the mayor, Janesia, and myself in presenting the support for 166. And I would like to reiterate what Commissioner O'Donnell said. I have some constituents that I've asked that you please watch what you're burning, have consideration for your neighbors. People have asthma, people have other conditions, and if your fire is causing smoke, you're burning the wrong things. You really should get something to contain it, like a solar fire bowl that doesn't create smoke. That would be one alternative. And the other would be to keep it low and not make it a very big fire if you want to enjoy it. We enjoy fires in our backyard, I understand that. But please have consideration for your neighbors if it's going into their house and they can't do anything but close their windows and live like they're in jail. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Seeing none, the meeting's adjourned.
Mayor?
Oops.
Could I just say one thing?
Oh, sure.
Well, I feel like you guys led into this, but after consulting with the fire chief and the fire marshal, the city will be issuing an open burn ban. It's dry enough, and the hazard
Good.
and danger is there. I appreciate their proactiveness, so we will work with the communications team to get that out, and you just segued very nicely into that. So please, watch for that. It will be effective immediately.
Thank you. Commissioner Simmons?
Clarification on that, what about small recreational fires, as Commissioner Ballard mentioned in his
No.
backyard? Is that?
No open
None.
burning, none.
Okay.
Okay, with that being said, is there any other commission comments?
Thank you.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you.